Niners with a division on the line. And guys, the math is simple. You win and you're not just in, you also own the 1 seat, that home field advantage, that first round bye. I mean, so who does have the edge? So B-Max, start us off with this crucial NFC West showdown. Niners, Seahawks, quarterback, who are you giving the edge to?
It's the San Francisco 49ers. And you know why? Because of Brock Purdy. The last 3 ball games, he's been hotter than bacon grease. 13 total touchdowns. In the last 3 outings, he's been on fire. Also, I'm loving the ability of Brock Purdy, Emery, to become a playmaker in the pocket, utilizing his athleticism, buying times with his legs, but also making things happen as a +1 in the running game whenever they need him to do so. He's playing with a lot of confidence. Most importantly, he's healthy as well, so I love his command on this offense. It's the San Francisco 49ers with the edge at the quarterback position.
And he is the true San Francisco treat. It ain't Rice Aroni. I love the way he's playing. I agree with you, Brock Purdy. And here's the thing about Brock Purdy. We've seen him go from a liability or a question mark to a tremendous asset. He is playing like the game has slowed down for him. And I like the fact that he is now the true leader at the position for San Francisco. There's no questions about him in this particular ball game or in the postseason. Why? Because we've seen it done. We've seen him have the, go through all the highs and lows. Been there, done that, bought the T-shirt, Brock Purdy, quarterback edge, San Francisco.
Meanwhile, when he came back from injury, that toe injury he was dealing with, he's been 6-0 and leading the league in points per game. But let's move on to the running back position. A big part of both of these offenses. Emery, we got CMC, Brian Robinson for the Niners. Then we were looking at Kenneth Walker. We got Zach Charbonnet for the Seahawks. But what side are you giving the edge to? Is this maybe not as close or maybe not as far away as many people think?
It's almost as if you see the escape from Alcatraz, the way they run the football. That's a second San Francisco punter that made there. Those 2 backs in San Francisco, no, it's not. I got a lot more in the satchel. You got San Francisco's running backs, Brian Robinson and Christian McCaffrey. And when both of those guys are running like they've run all season long, things are looking great for the run game. And they have 2 outstanding tailbacks, code number 1s in terms of how you want to divvy up the carries, but we know there's only true 1 lead dog, and that's Christian McCaffrey. But when you look at how Brian Robinson has picked up the pace since getting to San Francisco, every week he's got a little bit more in tune with the run game, with the offensive line. Give me San Francisco, although I love the backs on the other side, but I'm going with the Niners.
Yeah, what Seattle does in terms of how both running backs coexist in the backfield, they got a nice 1-2 duo in the backfield, but San Francisco, it starts and it stops with the best offensive weapon in the National Football League in Christian McCaffrey. It's not about what he just does when he's running the football. Big-time, reliable asset in the passing game. He also leads them in receptions. Because of the injuries, he had to up his ante as a pass catcher out of the backfield. And you talked about Brian Robertson, a bigger back, but he leans on defenders. Also, the offensive scheme and how they run the football. There's so much window dressing added to what they do, motion and things like that. They kind of keep defenders on their heels, and they just exploit those matchups. So for me, I'm right there with Emery. The running back edge is the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, and Brian Robinson coming off his best outing as a 49er. But B-Mac, you talked about those playmakers on offense, so let's stick with them. You're talking about those pass catchers. Who are you giving the edge to then?
All right, Seattle fans, bear with me here. Hear me out. All right, listen to me. Don't be biased. I love JSN. Yeah. He's arguably the best wide receiver in 2025 this season.
Right.
But outside of JSN, we've seen Cooper Kupp sprinkled in a little bit. Okay. I love that tight end production, but the relationship hasn't really been there with Sam Darnold and other pass catchers not named JSN. So I'm giving the edge to the San Francisco 49ers. With George Kittle, we don't know if he will play. We're hearing that potentially he will, but you know what type of asset he is. Not to mention some unheralded heroes surfacing for the San Francisco 49ers. Jawan Jennings has been phenomenal. Big-time red zone asset for them. When you look at Ricky Pearsall, when he's been healthy, Kendrick Bourne, Demarcus Robinson, so many different guys have been called to action, and they've answered that call, even if it was collect. So I love what they've been doing, and you can throw in the running back in CMC because he is a pass catcher as well. I give the edge to San Francisco.
I want to know how many of our viewers know about calling collect, but go ahead.
I'm about to throw an MCI reference out there. So that's way back in the day. But I will say, I used to love the TV, right? But until you have a full house like San Francisco doesn't have right now, I got to go with Seattle. You think about this. You talked about, well, the guys are missing right now, but you know who has a full house? The Seahawks do. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cooper Kupp, Rashid Shaheed just got there and doing great things. A.J. Varner, the tight end, always finding the end zone. So for me, a healthy, full house of pass catchers doesn't favor San Francisco. It favors Seattle. That's a third San Francisco reference right there for you guys too.
They also didn't have a full house when they played the Bears, and their offense was rolling. But we'll see how
don't
things
even
take
do that.
play
Don't do that. Yeah, don't do that.
in
No,
week
leave
18.
them alone.
All right, so Emery, let's go back to you then, because I do want to talk about the O-line. 49ers, they did lose that future Hall of Famer in Trent Williams on that first snap of the game against the Bears because of that hamstring injury. They're looking ahead to the postseason. His status currently in question. Does that play into who has the edge when you're looking at the O-line?
It does. His status is in question. This is for this week alone and not for the postseason. So I will go to Seattle. I do love the fact that when they're fully healthy, the San Francisco 49ers offensive line can push you from Kezar Stadium to Old Candlestick. That's another San Francisco reference right there. You like that, right? But I like the Seattle Seahawks. Exactly. What you know about that? Here's the thing with Seattle. When you look at what they've done up front, they got younger, they got more athletic, they got a cohesive unit, and I love what they do, guard, center, guard. They'll be able to run the football and protect Sam Darnold back there in the pocket. For this week alone, I will trust the Seattle Seahawks offensive line.
I'm taking the San Francisco 49ers. I believe they have the edge, and here's why. When you talk about injuries, they didn't miss Trent Williams against a very, very high-level team in the Chicago Bears. Throughout the year, they've dealt with injuries on the offensive line, and they still found ways to be more than a serviceable unit, a prolific unit. Not to mention, they're 5th in the National Football League, 5th in sacks allowed. Regardless who's been healthy enough to be on the offensive line, they've done a phenomenal job protecting. Quarterback has been Mac Jones or Brock Purdy, and we saw them do that against the Chicago Bears. We've seen them do that the entire season. Then the running game that has been implemented as well. We talked about the runners for the San Francisco 49ers. So in totality, you talked about some of the injuries. It don't matter. They've shown all of us it doesn't matter who is protecting whoever it is in the backfield. They would do a great job in getting the job done. So I got to go with San Francisco. They have the edge in my opinion.
I will say give shout out to Anthony Pleasants, the young guy that stepped in from Ohio against the Bears, did a solid job. Third-year player, but he was in the 2020 draft class. Saw him down at the College Gridiron Showcase, so glad he's getting that starting opportunity. So did well.
And I did see someone that mentioned when Trent Williams does get those vet off days, who's stepping in for him? Pleasant. So he's gotten some of those first-team reps and protecting Brock Purdy. But let's move to the defensive side of the ball, shall we? B-Mac, how about who has the edge on this defensive front?
All right, it's time to give Seattle some love now, coming from myself. Yes, I know you guys have been waiting on it. The front seven, it's the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, you can put their front seven with any front seven in the National Football League because they're that group. They have the best pressure rate amongst all defensive units in the National Football League, #1 in pressuring the quarterbacks, not to mention what they do scheme-wise in sacking quarterbacks as well. You look at Byron Murphy, he's been phenomenal. Leonard Williams, man, he hasn't aged a bit. D-Law has been a big-time addition for them. You look at Ernest Jones, what he's done, and say Drake. Drake Thomas has been phenomenal as well. They got so many guys that swarm to the football. Pleasant thing to see. Not so pleasant if you're going against them. So front seven, edge is the Seattle Seahawks.
They do make the pocket shake like the Golden Gate Bridge. Again, I'm all for it. Yeah, they're loving it out there in America. They're loving it, right? But I would also add Uchenna Nwosu.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a big fan of him and how he's been able to play. He's one of my unsung heroes when he was with the Chargers. Now he's with Seattle. They do a great job, all up front. They get pressure, they surround you, they collapse and close. Give me Seattle up in the front seven.
Very fair, especially considering the
injuries
that the 49ers are dealing with. Let's wrap this up talking about the secondary, B-Mac.
Well, for me, it's Seattle. Once again, they're healthier, even though they might be without. We don't know the status of Kobe Bryant, talented safety. I don't know, but we know what they have outside if he's not prepared to go. Like I said, we don't know his status. Nick Emanwori is like the Kyle Hamilton for their defense.
I love that.
They utilize him in so many different ways in all three levels. In coverage, he's not a liability. You can put him in the blitz concept. He's a great tackler, and he's a big body that runs like a little guy. Not to mention Devon Witherspoon. He's this era Antoine Winfield Sr., not Junior. Do your research. Senior. I love his tackling. He's one of the best tackling corners in the National Football League. Between him and Kamari Lassiter, those guys do a great job in getting the ball carrier down, and they do it with a physical mindset. Reek Woolen, 6'4", 4.2 speed. They got so many people in their secondary that are big-time players. Not to mention they do a great job in attacking the football. I got to go to Seattle.
This was hard for me because I love Upton Stout. I love Malik Mustafa. I love Jair Brown. I love what they have in San Francisco. Green from Florida State. But again, I'm going with Seattle. Seattle secondary can make things foggy like the San Francisco Bay. And when you think, listen, we have gotten all the way through, and I've used all these San Francisco puns. This was off the cuff, off the dome, but I agree with you. They have some talent on the back end. At corner, they're healthy. They can close on the back end with their safeties as well. They're active in the run game. So give me Seattle by a smidge in the secondary.
Smidge. All right, well, let's keep this going off the dome. I'm going to throw a random one at you guys. So now that we're looking at who has the edge on both sides of these matchups, Emory, who's your pick? Who gets that one seed? Who's that NFC West division title?
I am going with the Seattle Seahawks.
You gave us all these San Francisco references and this and the Golden Gate and the fog and all that and rice and noodles and Full House.
Alcatraz, I gave you all that. I gave you all that. But that's how you walk people to the plank and you kick them off the ship. Because here's the thing, right? 13-7 or 13-10, I believe it was, in the first meeting this season, week 1. And now with all things on the line, even though San Francisco's coming off a fantastic game against Chicago, I think it's Seattle's time because their defense will find a way to figure things out in a common matchup that we've seen already. I like the Seahawks defense step up and get.
Well, Kiana, he talked about the first meeting. You remember as well, being a faithful 49er fan. Seattle could have won that ball game. If a few DBs locate the football in the fourth quarter, they potentially win that ball game, but they lost. But now when you look at both teams and the current style of both teams, which quarterback is playing better football?
I'm going to say it's Brock Purdy.
Right.
Which coordinator, play caller is in their bag?
Now you talking
Now I'm going to go with Kyle Shanahan.
No question. And who's home? San Francisco. So he talked about the Bay Area and the Golden Gate Bridge and the fog and the Full House and the trolleys coming down the street, but he ain't rocking with you. I'm rocking with you, San Francisco. In the words of E40, timer.
That's Oakland, by the way.
40 water.
40 water.
Sprinkle me. Let's go, San Fran.
Bring a little bit on San Francisco. Meanwhile, are we surprised he has his Ninja Turtle green on?
Exactly.
Good stuff, fellas,
Sprinkle me, San Fran.
Waiting to see what goes down week 18 between these NFC West division rivals. Well, it wasn't too long ago people were calling for Mac Jones to remain the starter in San